Hey, it's another edition of Talk on Tuesdays. I cannot believe it's the last Tuesday of January. Where in the world this entire month go? I know, like you, am I ready for February? One of the shortest months of the year. I'm not sure, but we got a lot to get to. All excited to get ready, and to get going with this episode of Talk on Tuesdays. I'm your host, Val the Voice Johnson, and as always, grateful to be here with you. Hey, let's get into it. Wow, it is an exciting time here in, I like to call it, Chicago, the Midwest, and obviously Talk on Tuesdays. I mean, Interludes Extra Talk on Tuesdays, we've been going strong for the last couple of years. And my goodness, it has been phenomenal, phenomenal, just doing what we do in the house. I have to let you guys know that it has been, I don't know, it's been an interesting time. I'm trying to, let me see who is in the Interludes Extra building and virtual building, that is, because we do this just for you guys to let you all know how much we appreciate and care about you. My goodness. I'm Val the Voice Johnson, and I'm excited to let you guys know that I have an ebook. Oh, what? Valerie has an ebook? Yes, she sure does. I'm going to have to use the money to raise funds to get a new laptop, because I am very grateful to be able to come on and share with you guys, but my goodness, I don't like coming on 12 minutes after I say I'm going to come on. Oh my gosh. I think my computer is getting tired of getting pimp slapped from me, but it's all good. But I'll ask Mr. Springer to place it in the chat and let you guys know that I have a new ebook, and it's going to be our sponsor for tonight. A DJ saved my life. That's right. A DJ definitely saved my life. Oh my goodness. My goodness. It is exciting. It is a ebook now that I started working on back in March of 2023. And my wonderful mentor, her name is Monique Lisa Johnson. She's the one that got me going with what? The writing. Oh my gosh. And since March of last year, I've been working on the project off and on. I was getting emotional while I was talking about it, because I went all the way back to even a little bit before I started doing interludes. Interludes has been going since, when has it been going? Since June of 2020. And thanks to a few people in my court that, number one, helped me, that said, hey Val, we're going to go ahead and push to do what we can to help you get going. I mean, I'm remembering Michael. I'm remembering Jury. I'm remembering Jonathan. All of these guys, and so those are wonderful special thank yous that I made sure that I did with them. And my goodness, here's the thing: I'm trying to go live on Instagram, and Instagram is not cooperating. So I think I'm just gonna let the ghost go. It's all good. But definitely, if you'd like to go ahead and pick up a copy of the ebook called what? A DJ Saved My Life. Man, oh man. I want to choke the life out of the laptop. I'm doing this right now, but it's fine. I should be showing stuff to you right now, but we're going to go ahead and keep it moving. But go ahead, guys, and let me know that you're here in the chat. I see Mr. Springer is here in the building. And wait a minute, do I see Coach? What's up, Coach? How you doing?
I'm just sitting here checking you out, Val. Just taking it all in, just relaxing.
You can be relaxed. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. And good to see you because I was not looking at you. I was pretty much fussing at my computer because it just, hey, it is what it is. It does what it does. I'm not gonna freak out because it is what it is. But
It's
yeah,
like it's like
so
it's like, it's like I tell my players all the time, Val. At some point during a play, it may break down. You got to be able to spin and keep going.
and definitely I've been doing that. I want to say hello to who's here in the building. Thank you so much for being here. Hey,
E,
Daniel, good to see you. You want to say hello to Daniel?
what's up, Dan? Y'all see E in the house too tonight.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Eric Harrison, good to see you as well. Wow. Okay, yes. So also, we have a Patreon page for Interludes Extra. And so if you'd like to go ahead and join our community today, it's patreon.com/interludes. And what I talked about just now, that's right. Last night, a DJ saved my life. For the folks that are really, really sharp, you can hold up your phone to what? And capture the QR code, which is always exciting. So you can grab that. And of course, Mr. Springer has gone ahead and placed it in the chat. I am so appreciative of that. Thank you so very much, Mr. Springer. Woohoo! A DJ saved my life. Now, Coach, I have to say, I got a chance over the weekend to see this wonderful film called American Fiction.
Man, I wanted to see that.
Had
I
you heard
can't even
about
wait for you to talk about
that? Oh my gosh, thank you so
it.
very much.
The trailer on it looks amazing.
And you know what? I was trying to see if I could play it. I play the trailer, but I'm still working out, like, making sure that I don't hit any weird copyrights, even though we're promoting the film. I just want to, I got them waiting to get clearance from folks there at Amazon Studios. So that's MGM, and then a few other places. So I've been sending out letters to places because we recently just got hit with a, hey, whose record or whose music you got? And we're like, wait a minute, it's ours. It's
It's
all
out
good.
right up here. Don't worry about all that.
So anyway, you people that you see in the photo there, just, I mean, a phenomenal cast. Adam Brody in the dead center. You see Sterling K. Brown, and of course, the
Doing it
lead
right.
actor. Yeah, the lead actor in this is Jeffrey Wright. We actually talked about him on last
Wait,
week, 2 weeks ago, when we talked about some of the best people that have portrayed Dr. King. And so this gentleman here, this is the director, Cord Jefferson, who was nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay, also for the NAACP Awards, as well as the Oscars. And so some of my favorite people are in this: Tracy Ellis Ross, Issa Rae, and then Sterling K. Brown. And then, of course, an not unrecognizable, but a Leslie Uggams. I don't know if you remember that name from a long time ago. And then what else? Who else is in there? It's really, it was just booming with gems. And so I was thinking, I want to talk about this film and what makes it important and why people are just like beaming over this. Here's the thing. There's a book that was written by Percival, and it's called Erasure, and
right.
kind of dealt with I like to call it the writers that are Black that weren't being seen. And all of a sudden people just wanted to go, we want to highlight Black authors, so we want to get them out there. For some reason, the literary world thought that Black authors were not being seen. And so this the lead actor, this would be Jeffrey Wright. He plays Thelodious Monk Ellison, and
Okay.
he is, I don't know if you remember some of your college professors at North Central. Do you remember some of our college professors at North Central?
I remember several of them.
Okay, see, yeah, and a lot of them, especially if they were in literature, they wrote books and then they
Yep.
taught. But sometimes they didn't make a lot of money. They would publish their work, they would teach on it. One of the scenes in the film, the his colleagues are criticizing him for how harsh he's teaching and pushing some of the narrative. And so what's wonderful is that a little bit later in the film, he's prompted by Issa Rae's character. She's playing Sinatra Golden, and she writes a book that has this weird, I want to call, it's not weird, but kind of a black vernacular where you're using the N word, you're talking broken English. And so his character decides, you know what, I I'm just going to write this as a joke. No one's going to take it seriously. He writes a novel called My Pathology. He even spells it weird. He spells it PAFOLOGL, and then he
Right.
renamed it a
Just like
different
we,
name.
just like we
Word.
always do
Huh?
that in our community. Just like you said, do you hear the words coming out of my mouth? MOUFF.
He uses a different pseudonym. He doesn't use his real name. It's Stag Lee. And what happens is that all of a sudden, a lot of white publishers, and they're like, we want to publish this, and his publisher agent is like, hey, your work didn't get a lot of money, but this one is working. One of the scenes in the film, uh, Monk is he's typing up the scene, and he has two actors in front of him that's acting out the scene. And you kind of know they're acting it out because at one point they break the third wall, and they don't look at the camera, but they look at him and say, what is my line, or what should I be saying here? And I was like, ooh, I've written a couple of screenplays, Coach, and I have done that. I've imagined my characters talking to me. That sounds crazy, but it
Hey,
made sense.
I get it. Today, I was just in a situation with my players, and I said, Coach, who are you talking to? I'm talking to myself. Sometimes you got to talk to self in order to understand what you're trying to get out. So I get it. And especially if you're writing a screenplay and you're trying to make sure the characters are doing, you sometimes are acting that character out in your head.
Right. Right. And what was so brilliant about that is that, toward the end, it was like, should it end like this, or should it not end like this? And so, kind of given that challenge, because I was thinking, this is the ending I know I want. It didn't give you that ending that you wanted. It really didn't. And I was grateful that they were like, no, let's challenge it in two or three different ways. And Jeffrey Wright, who has been acting well over a couple of decades, I remember seeing him in Shaft. You remember Shaft with
I told you that was one of my favorite movies. Seeing it, man. Hey, man. And my favorite line in the entire movie was, "You like Tiger Woods? I like Tiger Woods."
I thought he was Hispanic. I thought he was Hispanic. I didn't know.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, I
But
love
that
that. And I'm talking about you. Hey, that was the black man's version of Scarface.
you killed my brother. You killed my
Right.
brother.
He
Well,
was on that.
he's extremely intelligent in this one. But the other thing that I went to see with a good friend of mine, Princess, I got emotional because it also dealt with a lot of things that was going around in Monk's life. As you get older, you're dealing with your parents, and one parent that's still there. At Leslie Uggams plays his mom, and there's a death, but then there's her slowly dealing with dementia, and it was dealt with so beautifully, and so I want to call it, carefully, like, what do adult kids talk to their parents about, uh, and then kind of dealing with some of those other issues. Sterling K. Brown plays the younger uh, brother. It's the three of them. It's Tracy Ellis Ross. I'm assuming she's
Right.
the middle child, and then there's Jeffrey Wright. He's the eldest, and then of course there's Sterling K. Brown's character. And I'm telling you, just dealing with the silver the Sybil the Sybil. What am I trying to say? Sibly rap rivalry, dealing with your parent, and then you've written this book that really isn't you. It really isn't. That doesn't have your name on it, and then just kind of dealing with all of these things. I want to say I now understand why Sterling K. Brown and Jeffrey Wright were nominated. They both
Nothing
gave
drives me
very,
crazy.
yeah, they both gave very passionate and thoughtful performances. Uh, he's his younger brother, Sterling K. Brown. He plays this younger, reckless guy, and just kind of, it's he's in your face, like, I'm gay, but my
Right.
wife left me because she caught me in bed with a man, and it's like, rah, and I was thinking, okay, so he must be the man in a relationship. I don't know.
And like he just reminded us, he played the character Peoples Hernandez in Shaft. Peoples was my man's in them.
Yeah, for Jeffrey Wright, yeah. So he was really really good in that. And then of course he played Dr. King in Boycott. Sterling K. Brown was in a show called Army Wives a long, long time ago, well before This Is Us. But of course, he's the Emmy Award winning actor in that, and so every time he's on screen, I'm waiting to see what he's going to do.
I don't know.
And
I don't know why I thought the young lady from what's the funny comedy is it Shameless. Um,
yeah, I know who you're talking about. No, she's not in this one. No,
yeah,
she's
I
not in
don't
this
know
one.
why I thought she was in this movie. So
Hmm.
how did my girl Tracy Ross do?
She she did great, and the great thing is what the scene they're driving. They're I guess she's driving him home because he lives in Los Angeles. Jeffrey Wright's Monk's character lives in Los Angeles, and they're in the car, and it was the preview scene that I saw that says I want to see that because a writer, anybody that's a writer, you're extremely sensitive about your work. You're like, I've written this and I want you to love it. I want you to respect it. And so, but when you have conversations with your siblings, they could say anything off the cuff. And
Oh yeah,
so the
they're gonna
two
tell
of
you the
them are
truth.
talking. Yeah, the two of them are talking, and he was like, "Well, what did you think about my book? Did you ever support me?" So she said, "Of course I supported you. Of course I have your book. Your book it has evened out my dining room table so nicely. It's the perfect height." And the two of them, share a laugh. But I was like, wow. But
That's fun. Hey, I can now eat my breakfast off this table now. Before it was leaning.
it had a gangster lean. But my
Right.
recommendation, guys, if you have not seen this film, please go check it out. It's one of the 10 films nominated for Oscars, also nominated for a NAACP award. American Fiction. I
Like
cannot recommend this enough, and so I'm over the moon with it. And then we'll see what you guys are saying. I think I asked Kevin to ask the question: have you guys seen the film uh,
fiction.
American Fiction? Let me know if you've seen it. And Eric agrees with you, Coach. He says People Hernandez was the character he played in Shaft, and that was really a memorable character. But like I said, I honestly thought Jeffrey Wright was Hispanic. I just
Yeah.
didn't
I
know.
mean, hey, again, the characters we play, just like my man, what's his face, the kid that came in, Get Out and Nope. He's from London. And now he's rewriting stuff. So these guys get into that character mode and learn how to speak English well and do the things. It's amazing. I'm just glad the SGA's are over and these guys are back to work, Val. We
Oh,
back to
the
looking at
strike.
movies. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, I know. I'm very grateful because I was thinking, I'm like, I don't want you guys to get into trouble like this. And then also just to mention that the 55th NAACP Awards is coming on. It'll be on in March, right? I think a week after the Oscars, or probably in that same time frame. And of course, American Fiction is nominated, a Course of Color Purple, and a lot of other actors. You see Colin Domingo,
Oh yeah.
he was nominated. Then you got Danielle Brooks and America Ferrera, who was Ugly Betty for years on ABC. I finally saw Barbie. I get it now. I didn't get
Oh,
it at first, Coach, but I got it. I get it. Okay. It wasn't just about a doll.
right. Hey, all I know is a lot of things are beaming around that movie, and I like my man Ken. Like he said, he didn't want to accept an award because he's like, how can I get an award for playing Ken when I'm the side chick or the side guy to Barbie? And then Barbie doesn't get it, you don't get a writer one. It's like, what are we doing here? It's like that's like you give Robin an award, but the show is called Batman.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh my gosh. Lastly, I got a chance to see the documentary called The Greatest Night in Pop. And that was released yesterday. Do you remember the song, Coach Tony, We Are the World? Remember that
Let me
song?
tell you something. I remember where I was at around that time. I think it was
Mm-hmm.
85, 86 when that
85,
came.
exactly. Yep.
80, 85, still at Morgan Park. I remember when it came out, when it hit, it was Michael Jackson's heyday. I think Prince is just now coming off of just coming off of Purple
Purple
Rain.
Rain.
Exactly. Michael Jackson is coming off of Thriller. So that was a heck of a year. And then here they dropped this We Are the World. That was amazing.
Yeah, and one thing that I didn't realize is that I felt like it was the longest night for Lionel Richie. Lionel Richie and Michael Jackson came together to write the song. I didn't know that. They wanted Stevie Wonder to help them write it, but he didn't. It took him 3 weeks to get back in touch with them, according to the documentary. But it was good. In this shot, you see Sheila E., Huey Lewis, and then of
My
course,
girl.
yeah, and then you see Lionel Richie, who's kind of the producer of this, and kind of recounts. I forgot he hosted the American Music Awards. It was the 12th annual American Music Awards, and he won like 5 or 6 awards that year because he had released one of his bigger albums, solo albums that year, and he hosted, and he went from hosting that 2 or 3 hour show, Coach, right into the recording studio, right for We Are the World.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I think because he was there all the way until the very end. What was good to know, now that you see Quincy Jones there working
Yeah,
with
True J. Hey, we had some bad guys back in the day. You know, you talking about at
who?
that time. I mean, you talking about some bad guys. I mean, you had Jam and Lewis up in Minnesota. I mean, we had some bad guys that was pumping out some music. That's why they always say that 80s, whether it's 80s pop, 80s R&B, night was a bad era, man. I mean, people literally still had instruments they had to play. You and I talked about that the other day. You know, people still had a real guitar, drum sets, percussions, the bongos. You know, to make the music that now you push one button and the computer does it for you.
Right. The artists that were there that night: Bette Midler, Paul Simon, um, Kenny Rogers, Al
Oh,
Jarreau,
Al
James
Jarreau.
Ingram, and then of course someone that I got a chance to meet probably a couple of years ago when I was no, probably about 5 or 6 years ago, Harry Belafonte. It was literally his.
Belafonte.
It was his genius. It was him that made the request to say we would like to do some type of song uh, that where we're supporting, like Americans are supporting and helping hunger in Ethiopia. So it was literally his. And
Oh,
and
wow.
there's a, if you watch the music video, the camera kind of pans and you see him with the headphones on, and he's like singing it like he's like, "You're the one." He's like really into it. I was like, wow.
Yeah, Snoop was you talking about Belafonte? That's the original Black Billy D. Williams. Um,
What was fun in the documentary is that I believe it was Al Jarreau. Someone started singing the song that he's most known for, "Day-yo," and I was like, wow. And then you kind of saw him chuckle like a little shy. And do you know, of all the people that were there, over 46 artists that recorded,
wow.
Bob Dylan was the one that was intimidated by everybody because he just was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe all these people are around. And who helped him relax was Stevie Wonder.
Yeah, it was. I heard about that. They like you said, we were talking about that. It's funny. They were talking to Snoop Dogg the other day,
Mm-hmm.
and did you hear the comment Snoop said that he was made during that time? He was just coming out as a young guy with Dr. Dre in that late I want to say 86, 87ish, and he had an opportunity to bump into Michael Jackson, and they were at the studio, and they put him next to Michael's room, and Snoop was doing his thing, smoking, and it was so loud that Michael came out and went over and quietly said, "Can you please put that out?"
Oh my gosh.
So Snoop talks about that's one of his inspirational moments meeting Michael Jackson. Unfortunately, we're doing a situation while he was in smoking, and Michael was trying to record.
The Greatest Night in Pop is currently streaming on Netflix. It literally just came out yesterday. I was looking for my 45 record. I swear to you, I was looking for it, Coach. I couldn't find it, but it's somewhere in this house. Oh my gosh! But
I told
it
you
was a fun
I got
time.
that boom, but back to the boom box. So I got all that. I got my old tapes. I done found my CD. It's back. It's on and popping, Val. I'm about to come on here like Radio Raheem one night with the boom box on the show.
Oh my gosh. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to let you guys know thank you so very much. I believe our very first episode of the Pull Up Podcast, we reached a great milestone of over 110 streams or views of the show. Thank you so very much. That we premiered the Pull Up Podcast on last week, and a lot of great responses. And of course, we had one last night. But definitely, Coach has been doing his thing, gathering. We're going to be recording a trailer for our podcast on next week, so it'll be live, but not a show. It'll be something very short, so we can get that out and going to, let's say, Apple, Spotify, and the rest, so things can be heard via audio as well. But major kudos to you, Coach, for some of the phenomenal. You had Coach Zoe last week, and then you had Merle Code, who was on this platform, Talk on Tuesdays, back on in 2023. And so, so I'm very excited. We've kind of gone over a little bit of the schedule for what's going to be happening on the Pull Up Podcast, but please pull up on Monday nights at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. Please do that and check us out. But we're going to be talking Super Bowl. Is that about right?
Yeah, and again, real quick before you jump off that, again, like Val said, for everybody that's jumping in on the Pull Up Podcast show, the show is phenomenal. I've gotten a lot of guests that are reaching out to me, want to come on the show, and I mean, a lot of professional people, and it's going to be awesome. We've got we're going to talk Super Bowl with some guys that's been in a Super Bowl game before coming up. Tonight I gotta give, when we jump into the NBA segment, I'm gonna give a quick shout out to another guest that we got coming up on the show. So thanks for watching the Pull Up Podcast show. It has been phenomenal. And when I say, continue to tune in, like, share, and repost is what I need. But more importantly, subscribe. Like we tell you over here on Interludes, subscribe to that show so we can get it done.
So it's coming, Las Vegas Super Bowl.
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
we're gonna reverse it, Val. We're gonna talk Super Bowl. Let's jump in this NBA real quick, and then we'll come back to the NFL.
Oh,
Yeah, because we wanna take that NFL. Gonna take us a little minute. Do me a favor. Put up the NBA All Star HBCU one I sent you. Do you have that one?
I'm looking for it now, but go ahead and
Yep.
talk about it.
So, as we talked about a moment ago for the Pull Up Podcast show, I want to send a big shout out to my frat brother, Kappa Alpha Psi, my main guy, and Coach Travis Williams. Coach Travis Williams has been instrumental in developing a relationship of all things, Val, with the HBCU crowd. And what he's done is something phenomenal. He started it during the pandemic, and we got him on the show coming up. He's been busy right now because he's been working on getting the All-Star game for the HBCU to be a part of the NBA All-Star this year, which is incredible. And Coach Williams, what he basically did, he went out, Val, and he works closely with all the HBCU universities and schools and such so that we can capture some of the best young men playing at the HBCU level. These guys are playing D1 basketball. It's not in the Power Five, right? We talked about that, the Power Five conferences, which is your Alabamas and your um, Ohio States and Michigans of the world. But we're talking about a mid-major HBCU, and he brings together all these phenomenal black athletes into the All-Star weekend and also the Final Four weekend for NCAA. So that's been phenomenal. And I talked to him right there, and I let him know that I'm going to send him a super shout out. Can't wait for him to be on a Pull Up Podcast show so we can really break down in depth what he's doing. It's going to be interesting at night, Val.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm assuming this is very important because it is the NBA helping out the HBCU, and so this is going to be happening on Saturday, February 17th. And so if you guys are fans, especially of the NBA, and then kind of seeing the new players that'll be coming into the NBA, possibly, is that correct?
Well, hopefully, but what he's doing with his platform is shining light on these universities that are at these HBCUs because we do have kids that are NBA potential players, but they
And who are
just
you?
don't get
I'm
the
sorry.
rights.
I'm sorry. Who are you referring to? Who's the gentleman that you're talking about?
Coach Travis Williams, he's the CEO founder of the HBCU All Star Game.
Go ahead. Keep going.
And that's phenomenal. So, like you said, Val, the cool part about it is when we can get a big logo like the NBA, man. And speaking of logos, the NBA, did you see? Did you see? Like you and I were talking, and Mark, if you out there, I know you out there, Daniel. Did you see the two old guys and LeBron James and Steph Curry go at it, Val? Triple overtime, giving them moves, throwing them trays up. These two cats became the first duel in NBA history for two guys over the age of 30 pull off a triple double in triple overtime, older than 35 years of age. So
I
that's
had just, I had
phenomenal.
just, I had just finished coming from the theater from seeing American Fiction, and I saw the game on, the Lakers and the Warriors, and I'm like, oh, this will be a fun game to watch. I'll be able to see LeBron do his thing, and then I was thinking, wait, is that going into overtime? The first overtime, and not the second one, the first
Right.
overtime. Then I found myself sitting down, and I'm like, who am I rooting for? Because I don't have a pony in the race between the Warriors and the Lakers. I think these are excellent teams. I'm not going to say anything bad against either team. But what I thought was so, and this is just me being a little sentimental, is to see these, I'm gonna say, elite
Yep.
elite athletes right after the game, right after the triple overtime that happened. The two of them come together. I think that was a double overtime. There was a triple overtime with the other game, but this one, yes, I was like, oh, that is so cool. And they're just laughing, joking,
Now
having a good
this
time.
end
You
up being
saw.
triple. And I'm gonna tell you what's gonna be probably more famous than anything.
Mm-hmm,
When this game was over, it was triple. But when this
mm-hmm.
game was over, did you see Steph Curry ripped his jersey off him?
I didn't see that part. I didn't see that part. And Eric says that I tuned in at the overtime too. It was extremely entertaining. I was at the very end of the fourth quarter, and I was expecting it to wrap up, but it didn't. But why do you think Steph tore off his jersey?
Well, I mean, they talked to him after the game. Again, you're talking about two competitors competing at its highest level. And whether you're 35 in the later part of your career or whether you're 25 getting your career off the ground, you are
Right.
still a competitor. And when you are two major icons, you're talking about the best shooter in the NBA or the league has ever seen in terms of Steph Curry. And you talking
Mhm.
about a phenom in LeBron that's been pretty much on the top of his game since he entered the NBA. And the only outside conversations is Michael Jordan. So when you see these two people, if you got a Mount Rushmore of ball players, they're probably up there. And like Steph said, when the game is over, you hate to lose because at the end of the day, the only way to finish a game, right, Val, is somebody's got to lose, right? And
Exactly. Hmm.
because of that, it hurts to lose, but to know that you gave it your all, and then to turn around and say, "Hey, this may never, ever, ever happen again." Two guys over 35 and pull off this feat in a few overtimes. That was just awesome. And we're talking about right before the All-Star game. So, oh, by the way, I'm about to get at you again in a few weeks.
Right. So Eric just said Steph tore off the jersey because they had lost this last couple of games by 2 to 3 points. I saw there was a wonderful shot that I think that happened in the second part of the second overtime, and it tied the game, so it went into second overtime. You kind of saw Steph kind of do the three, and hit the
Yep.
way he arched his body back. I was like, whoa! Like he was like, it's got to go in, so we can stay in this fight. And so it felt like it was a playoff game.
Oh, yeah.
It playoff.
The move to me in the whole game, which was phenomenal, was
Mm-hmm.
Steph was on the right side of the court. He
Mm-hmm.
dribbled the ball all the way to the left side of the court, one underneath the basket. Obviously, he got handed off to a few players, and the last person to get him was Anthony Davis. And he acted like he was going to dribble back out. Anthony Davis jumped on him. He spin moved, went back to the goal, and laid it up. Now, as we say, these guys are going to get at each other again. If Joel Embiid is healthy, I mean, you got Dame Dollar, you have got, oh my God, Giannis and Embiid. And then over here, you got Durant and you got my boy Hologram coming from Indiana. And then you got my man, LeBron. This All-Star game this year is going to be incredible. Plus, they changed it, Val,
They
so
did.
the stakes are high. So now they're
Okay.
playing for money. So now they're going to play because now they're playing for money. They're playing for charity. Now they're playing for the money side of it. And then the 3-point contest, which is what you like,
I
you
love.
know, Isiona, the young lady from the New York Liberty, Steph Curry is going to shoot 3 points contest against her. So this is
What?
going to be the best shooter in the WNBA versus the best shooter in the NBA. So it's going to be on fire. February 17th. Make sure you tune in. ABC.
So that's going to be a week after the Super Bowl. So we're and speaking of which, we're circling back to the Super Bowl. Is that correct?
Yeah, circling back to the Super Bowl. And speaking of circling back, Lamar Jackson is circling back to Baltimore right now.
Were you rooting for the Ravens? Because I
Yeah.
found myself rooting for Detroit, and I found myself rooting for yeah. I was
Well,
rooting for yeah.
I, I couldn't root for the D because I'm a born diehard Bears guy, NFC North. Couldn't do that. So I was good with that. Plus, my nephew, Juwan Jennings, again, you know, wide receiver, San Fran 49ers. So I got 50% of it up in there. So that worked out very well. And on the other side of it, I was hoping that Lamar Jackson, and the only reason why I was looking for Lamar Jackson was I was hoping to come off on a great ending story. His mother ended up taking him over, becoming his super agent. He signs a max contract, MVP of the league, and I was just hoping that he at least made it to the Super Bowl to just a solid ending to a great story, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And those
But
I feel like they'll be back in the playoffs next year. Both the Ravens and Detroit. They're gonna show back up because they
yeah, I
that
think
was a
so.
hard fought
But you're playing your
games.
boy. And Patrick Mahomes, as I told you guys, if y'all were listening to the Pull Up Podcast show last night, I was telling you then, that boy right there, Patrick Mahomes, he was 10-1 against the spread. So for those that don't understand that, meaning that throughout these 19 weeks in the NFL, or 18 and 19 weeks in the NFL, Patrick Mahomes won 10 out of 11 games against the spread, whether he was
Wow.
favored to win or whether he was an underdog. And then he came out and won back to back against the spread in the playoffs, including the AFC Championship game, because they were underdogs by 4.5 points and ended up winning.
And wasn't Mahomes out for a bit
Yep,
because of the
yep,
injury?
exactly. So again, that ankle, he had been prolonged
Yeah.
ankle problems throughout the entire year, and that happened actually last year in the Super Bowl. And so it's a whole year. But again, you can't take the heart away from a fighter. You can stop his feet from moving, everything else. But if he's a fighter, he's got that heart. He's gonna stay in that ring. He's gonna box you toe to toe.
Right. But
And
I'm looking to see who says this. Oh, okay. So what happened? The Chiefs. Someone's letting us know the Chiefs 27, 49ers 7. So someone is predicting the Chief is going to win by 2027. The 49ers. They're gonna,
no. So what they're saying, Val, is somebody putting up their Chiefs gonna win this game by 10 next week, 27-17. They got the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl, and I don't think so. I think it's going to be a high scoring game in the 30s. And I think that San Fran, the defense, and Purdy, I think San Fran and those guys pull it out. I know they had to come back against Detroit. They had to come back before, but I think they pull it out. And the reason why they pull out is because that boy right there, Ursus, Ursus is going to be Ursa. And that's Tennessee, Chattanooga, down the street from me. Ursus going to be singing them songs.
yeah, he's got 13 minutes to go through his catalog. I think he's going to do a great job. A lot of people are looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to see who's going to be the guest stars that's going to show up. I feel like Little John's going to show up. I feel like Ludacris is going to show up. I feel like Alicia Keys might show up, like on some of his bigger hits that happen. So
Now you
I'm
missing the
always
one.
looking
You
forward
missing
to
two people.
hmm?
You missing two people.
Who am I missing?
I ain't none of those people you talking about gonna probably show up. If
What?
he don't bring JD, and that's the reason why he's Usher, then
Oh,
I'm
okay,
going, what?
JD. Okay, that makes sense.
JD go. And then the other person, let me clear my throat real quick. For promotional purposes only,
Here we
they
go.
are betting on Taylor Swift, who has a concert in Tokyo. They're
Oh,
betting.
wow.
You can physically take a bet in Vegas whether or not she's going to finish her concert in Tokyo and be able to fly to the Super Bowl. And the reason being is because, which I didn't know about this, Val, but the U.S. police, government, or whatever it is, security, they put a perimeter lock on the Super Bowl every year. Didn't know if you know that. So after a certain time frame, you cannot get in that perimeter of that game. So you can leave, but you can't come in. So they're wondering if they're going to give the government a special permission to get her back. Now we're talking a 12-hour difference between Tokyo back to Vegas. So the question is, the bets are, will she be there? I'm going to take those odds for promotional purposes only. I'm going to say they get her back on a private jet. She's there, and Ursha brings her on stage.
Okay. Well, this is Michael, I believe. Kiki Palmer will definitely perform with Usher, and
Yep.
going back to coaching, Reed will outcoach Shanahan.
Shanahan, nah.
Shanahan.
I think I know Reed will outcoach Shanahan. I know that, but I ain't worried about the coaching. I think the players. I think that San Fran's going to bring enough frontline pressure on them. I think that KC is terrible against the run. We saw
Oh
that,
no.
and
Okay.
I think that McCaffrey is going to put up another 100-yard game, a couple of touchdowns, and I think the 49ers slide by.
Okay. Yeah. So, like I said, I don't have a pony. I don't have a pony in the race. I don't know who to root for. Is any? Are you rooting for Kansas City or the 49ers? Who are you rooting for?
I got a couple ponies in the race, and we.
Oh, wait a
I
minute. Kevin put it in the chat. He said, for promotional purposes only, Coach Tony believes Taylor Swift will fly from Tokyo to Las Vegas for the Super Bowl, and Usher will bring her to the game.
I,
Bring it to the
I,
stage.
I'm just saying. Hey, I ain't saying. I'm just saying. Like, hey, if Martin already stole him on Pimp of the Year, right? He said, if I
Mhm.
was Pimp of the Year, I'll make feet long, right? With a diamond in the back, with a sunroof top,
Here
digging
you go.
lean with the gangster lean. Ooh,
Here
ooh.
you go. Woo, 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 woo.
So I'm telling you, them boys are going to be ready. Also, KC loses one of their main players on
Oh
defense.
no.
Got injured. Took a bad hit trying to tackle Jackson in the end zone again, which deflates that offense, that defensive line, and the way McCaffrey hits the hole, and then also Purdy's got a lot of targets with Debo Samuel's up top. And Reese, I think that I just think that they're going to be ready to play. They're not going to have to worry about coming from behind. And I think Shanahan and Redham have them ready to play. I got
Yeah.
San Fran 34-31 over KC.
Okay. We got another comment here. He will forget to rush CMC. He's done with it in the last two games in which the Niners have barely won. If the Niners get behind, they will pass, pass, pass. No run game, no win. Sounds like Womble.
Yeah, but yeah, Wama, but you got to look at it like this. You got to understand that in a big game like this, he understands that they're going to open up that gap. And if they get McCaffrey going early and they get him downhill early, it's a wrap because if they can establish that running game. And another thing is that KC was dead last or second to dead last in stopping red zone touchdown, especially with running quarterbacks. Now, Purdy
Wow.
showed he can run last week. If he can step out and put that ball down and run, 15 yards here, 20 yards here and there, and also help out McCaffrey, it's a wrap. Again, 34-31, San Fran.
Wow. Okay. So you're saying it's going to be San Fran and not the Chiefs.
Not the Chiefs this year. I think that Taylor Swift flies back from Tokyo and she gets disappointed, but she's still happy because she gets to perform Ursha.
Well, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be the Chiefs. I'm going to call it for the Chiefs. I say it might be anywhere between a field goal and a touchdown. It'll be like a 7 to 10 point difference that they'll win over San Francisco. I don't know. I can't give up a number, but I'm just thinking it'll be fought hard. It'll be
Well,
fought.
for promotional purposes, Val, you got to get the people the numbers. Val, it's promotional purpose. They got to be able
All
to put
right.
that. I got to hang the hat on something, Val. Don't, if it's gonna be three, make it three. If it's seven, don't be giving that. I can't say the spread was 4.5. Then you say it was 7. Come on, that's a different spread. I'm telling you, San Fran -3. Take the 3. Because one thing that Mahomes has done, again, I mentioned earlier, he's covered the spread 11 times. So the spread in my books is going to be now KC is favored, but San Fran will cover that easy, and I think they'll take it by 3. San Fran covers the spread and wins the game.
All right. Well, are we? I think it's Wombo. He is rooting for. He's got hashtag Let's Go Chiefs, and then he says, "Wasn't Shanahan the Atlanta coach that let the Patriots beat them?"
Hey, that don't matter. Wasn't Montgomery running football for the Chicago Bears? And then he went to Detroit, almost went to the Super Bowl and became one of the best running backs this year. Don't matter. Different ball game. This all
Different ball
stakes are low.
game. And then Eric says, to be honest, no one has put pressure on KC yet. They just stand pat and make less mistakes. San Fran will apply pressure, and that will be different for the Chiefs.
And you know why, E? And I think you said, and the reason why is that Mahomes is such a threat, right? It's like, remember back in the day in the 90s when we ruled the entire 90s with Jordan, right?
Right, in basketball.
Teams played Chicago, but what was the game plan, Val, on that? What do you think the game plan was at during the time we won those 6 rings?
Are you referring now basketball or football? You confused
I'm talking
me.
about basketball. We're talking about back in the 90s when Jordan was playing with the Bulls during the time we won those 6 rings in the 90s. The game plan from the other team was to do what against Jordan?
Oh, it was to stop him. Double
Nope.
team.
To give him. They knew they couldn't stop him. So the
Okay.
game plan was go ahead and get Mike his 40 because it's NBA and 40 points ain't gonna beat us. Go ahead and give Mike his 40 tonight. That's why he led the NBA his entire career. But go ahead and give Mike his 40. But we're gonna shut Pippen, we're gonna shut John Paxson, we're gonna shut Luke Longley, Tony Kukoc, Ron Harper. We're gonna shut these guys down. We're gonna make those guys beat us because we know Michael gonna walk out here 40 plus every night.
Okay.
So having said that, those teams know Patrick Mahomes' escape capabilities to get out the pocket, throw the deep ball. He's got great targets. And then if your boy Kelsey can play like he did, this past Sunday, he was 12 for 14 catches for 130 yards, which
Which
is
is great.
insane for a tight end.
It
But
is.
that's what's happening. And like he said, you got to be able to bring the pressure. Now, when they were able to bring the pressure to Mahomes, Jackson and these boys were playing catch up. Now, Baltimore did have a chance to win. They get that touchdown in the end zone that Zay Flowers had, got hit and fumbled on the 6-inch line. We're talking about a total different ball games. It may even went to overtime. I don't think you're going to have that problem because San Fran is a run offense first, pass second.
Wow. And so, like I said, it's gonna be. I feel like it's gonna be a tight game. I'm coming up with a number. Eric says Baltimore and Buffalo made mistakes themselves that cost them the games,
Yep,
but Kansas City was just steady and made less mistakes. So I
correct.
think it's about whichever team ends the Super Bowl, because it'll be you get your 4 quarters, and here's the thing: why I was so heartbroken with the Bears. They are Mahomes. He is protected. He's able to make a play. And what I always saw with our Bears quarterback. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting his name.
Who? Oh, you talking about Justin Fields?
Yeah, Fields. Like there was not enough protection for him to sometimes do the plays, and so those were
And so what he had to do?
errors. Those were
When there wasn't no
mistakes.
protection, what did Justin Fields do? He got out and ran.
Yeah, he did.
Exactly.
And he technically is not, as a quarterback. You're not supposed to be. There's a running back for that. There really
Well,
is.
again,
If
that's why Lamar Jackson is who he is, but no, KC made him change that. Again, the key again, KC is about to lose one of their biggest all pro linemen will be out. That's going to be a new hole in that line. And they may be clicking. And I know one was saying that the defense for the Niners and the Ravens and those guys couldn't stop Mahone and Pacheco. Pacheco is a bad boy. But again, I counteract Pacheco with McCaffrey, and Pacheco can't hold what McCaffrey has done. So again, I think it's going to be a close game, well fought game, but you got a passing attack versus a running game. The key to this entire game is going to be who can play the best defense, and we already know Val, defense wins championships.
there you go, there you go. And so
I
the
still didn't get your
defense.
number, Val. For promotional purpose, I'm gonna need that number.
Okay, so for promotional purposes only, I am predicting that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win, and they're going to win. The number I'm seeing is 24-17.
Okay, 24-17. I like it. Left a lock right there. Y'all heard it. You know, Springer put it in the thing. Coach Tony, take it for promotional purposes. San Fran covers the current spread. The spread is KC got the advantage. KC covers that. San Fran covers that, wins it 34-31. And Val got them winning by 7 with KC 24-17. And Val, we're going to put some lunch on this or something. So when this promotional thing is over, I'm going to expect a gift card in the mail or something.
Because you think it's going to be San Francisco.
Yes, yes. So hey, and what the commercial say? It's a San Francisco treat.
Yeah, I'm cracking up. Wombles, it seems like he's cheering for the Chiefs as well, and because he's got a whole hashtag "Let's Go Chiefs." But like I said, and they won last year. The Chiefs won last year, right?
Yep.
So here's the thing. It would be fun for them to do a back-to-back situation. So at one point they were an underdog, but not anymore. So
Yeah,
I
they
feel I'm picking them as a favorite to win. So for promotional purposes only, thank you, Kevin. Kevin put it in the chat. For promotional purposes only, Val the Voice is predicting that the Kansas City Chiefs will win against San Francisco 24-17. That's the number. That's what I'm sticking with.
that's no that we stick with. Boy, I wish we was back in the frat house. We play for some wood.
the Super Bowl is Sunday, February 11th on CBS.
And we're
You
gonna
want to check
break
it
down
out?
what we
Check it
thought
out.
about with Ursha when he come because we already know Val as you and I talked about the Dr. Dre, Snoop, Mary J. Blige, what they did. So my question for you is this:
Mm-hmm.
do you think, being that this is Usher's first Super Bowl,
Mm-hmm.
do you think that this will be the best halftime performance since Prince? Because to me, there's nothing ever going to beat that. Because on that night that Prince, even though Michael Jackson, but the night that Prince was performing at the Super Bowl, no one could have predicted the rain that came down during the time he sang Purple Rain. That was, and people thought it was fake, and they had no idea it was really raining. So I love the Los Angeles show. I loved it,
That was my
and
favorite. That's
yeah,
one of my favorites. It
and that
was
Dr. Dre, I mean, because he had M, 50, him, Snoop, that was Mary J, but that was dope.
Mary
But
and of course Kendrick.
and I forgot about Kendrick, but
Kendrick was hot.
we got to
Come on,
see.
and that performance won an Emmy. That
Yes,
performance won an Emmy, which is
so
huge.
we got
So
to see.
I know. So I feel like he is going to bring a lot of elements from the Las Vegas show that he just came off of. A
Yeah,
lot of it, he was doing roller skating. He like put that in his thing, and so I feel like that's going to be in the situation. But I am looking forward to seeing who's going to be the cameo performances because that's going to make his performance. And of course, he's going to do his bigger. He's going to do his big hits. He's going to do yeah. He's
yeah,
gonna You
yeah,
Make Me
yeah.
Wanna. He's gonna do Oh
Got to
My
do the new
Gosh,
song.
all that stuff.
He gonna do the brand new song.
Yeah,
It's
with
good. Man, that's a cut. And then he gonna do Glue. He'll do both the new songs. I already know that.
yeah, he's definitely gonna do that. Um, I hate when I have to report things like this, but it's because I was such a big fan of this person's work. Choreographed many award shows, worked on Broadway, 3-time Tony Award winning Hidden Battle.
Oh
Hidden
man,
Battle, my
I
man. Do you
remember that.
remember Dreamgirls? Did you see
Yeah,
Dreamgirls?
I remember him.
Mm-hmm. He was in Dreamgirls, and he was on Broadway with Dreamgirls, as well as the 2006 revamp of it with Jennifer Hudson, where she won her Oscar, Beyonce, Jamie Foxx. And so this gentleman has been in and around the performance scene for decades and started out as on Broadway as on The Wiz when he was very young.
I
Uh,
remember this.
yeah, so he 67 years young. Hinton Battle. We really appreciate all of the work choreographed as well as acting. Just
Wow.
a brilliant artist. And so we heard about his passing from Broadway.com. They reported on that a little bit earlier. So I just wanted to give a shout out and praying for the Battle family. So yeah, man, oh man.
Man, again, guys, that's why you hang out with Val and I here on Tuesday nights on Interludes Talk on Tuesday. Because if you don't hang out, you didn't know that information, right? Continue to subscribe, like the show, and more important, share with your friend, with your mama and them, with your friends and them, right? Get it out.
I like when you say your mama and them. That
Right,
sounds real funny.
right. Share with your mama and them and all them. That's how they say it down south. Say it with your mama and them, you know.
And our talk on Tuesday is being sponsored by the book. A DJ Saved My Life. It is coming soon. Be released on March 5th. I've been
Ooh,
working on this since March of last year, which has been fun, fun, fun. And
have you
so,
got the DJ
guys,
say the like beat behind you, Val?
what happened?
You should have dropped that on the DJ. Save my life. You should have put the instrumental.
I got to get permission from the folks in order to use the music. But anyway, we'll be
Just
revealing
tell
the
them,
cover.
you just want the instrumental. You just want the instrumental.
Exactly. I'll see what I can get my hands on, but I'm just telling you. So let me make sure that I say this like okay. So here we go. We're excited to partner with both our Talk on Tuesday audience and then also our new sports audience on the Pull Up Podcast Show with Coach Tony Thompson. Please get the ebook. The release date is coming. It's March 5th. Order your copy today. All purchases made before March 5th will be celebrated here on Interludes Extra Talk on Tuesday show March 12th. We'll celebrate with you guys, and I'm expecting to do 100 ebook copies
Man,
because
I'm gonna
with
push
the
I
ebook
can't wait.
copies, if I get over 100, I'll be able to get printed copies because you
That
got
is
to pay
dope.
for those things.
I'm gonna make sure, and then after that, I think I'm gonna write my own book called My Man's in Them. I, I got a story that, and that's gonna be the preface. My man's in them because I got a story to tell.
Happy to report. I meant to do a screen for this, but next week we have April Whedon White. She'll be coming on. We'll be kicking off Black History Month with her because she's been doing stunt work in Hollywood for years. And so
And
we'll
I'm
be
gonna have a
chatting with
guest
her
on
on
the
next
sports
week.
side.
What happened?
That's that's awesome. I said, and then I'm gonna couple that. I've got another young lady that's gonna couple that. We're gonna have a women's night because I'm gonna have another young lady on the sports side of the house who's been through the ranks and doing some really good things. The minority, so it's gonna be an impactful night on Interludes next week.
Very much so. So come join us on next Tuesday, I think February 6th. I think that's the date for that. Join us when April will be here. And then, of course, the Pull Up Podcast will be back it'll be 2 weeks with a phenomenal guest with Coach Tony. But guys, thank you so much. My man and them can't wait that somebody wants to read that book. They want to read that book, Coach. My
Right,
man and them.
right, man. And we're gonna do it. I got first of all, we gotta get that DJ Save My Life out. We gotta get it moving first.
Oh yeah, we'll get that saved. We'll get that going. But then we're gonna come back to my man and them. Yeah,
No,
that's gonna
no,
be a good one.
yeah, I gotta put the Z on the back of it. My man's in him.
Oh my gosh.
All
Thank you
right.
so much for putting that up, Kevin Springer. We appreciate you. This is Interludes Extra Talk on Tuesday. On behalf of myself and Coach Tony, we'll see you guys next week. We appreciate you. Peace.